Here at James Sleighter Field, the pageantry of high school football on display. I'm Jayden Collins, along my side, Connor Bishop and Jackson Brown. And tonight we have a great matchup between Whiteland and Kokomo, two powerhouse teams, love to run the football. They play stout defense. What are you guys looking forward to here tonight?
As a student, as a fan, I'm excited to see a lot of explosive running. Kokomo, I know they run kind of different, very unique style of play with the wing T. But Whiteland, they love to run the sweep, and they can run it right down the middle. Explosive and, very consistent running, so I'm excited to see a lot of rushing yards.
And Jackson, your thoughts?
I mean, on that defense, I'm thinking that defensive line is going to shut it down. I think Aiden Schaefer is going to do pretty well. I think Scott Harden, I think we're going to have some leaders out there tonight closing the gaps.
Well, let's look at the offensive side of the ball. Kokomo, they run the double wing. It's a wing T variation, and it's very hard to stop, very difficult. They put up 40 points per game last year, only allowing 10 points per game. They were held to 16 last week at Leo, and Leo really set the blueprint. They put out a 5-5-1. What do you expect to see from the Whiteland defense tonight?
I think the Whiteland defense there's no way to be prepared for a wing T team. They could run it up the middle. I'm sure there's a lot of trick plays up their coaches' sleeves, but I think the Whiteland defense has watched a lot of film. The coaches have prepared this team for whatever happens, and I'm not saying that they're going to be perfect, but I think they're going to be able to contain them to a decent amount.
And that Kokomo offense is led by running back Darian Story Jr. Last year, rushed for 1,188 yards. What impact do you expect him to make tonight?
I think he's going to make a big impact. I think that Whiteland defense might have a little bit of trouble shutting him down, but I think that if they close the gaps, I think that Jordan Palmer coming off 11 tackles last week, if he can shut him down, I think that Whiteland's going to be in a pretty good spot.
Now let's shift over to Whiteland's offense. Whiteland, led by the running back Slate Valentine, had 162 yards last week off of 18 carries, and the Whiteland offense as a whole ran the ball almost every single play. Ollie Taylor went 0 for 4 passing. They did not complete a single pass, didn't have any pass yards, 437 yards of total offense. It speaks figures to what this rushing attack can do, Connor.
Look, I think any team that has two top rushers in 5A in Indiana with Malik Perkins and Slate Valentine is a force to be reckoned with. Whether you're 0 for 4 or 4 for 4, the team that can score 52 points in a game is just, like I said, a force to be reckoned with. And our rushing game, we have multiple people: Slate Valentine, Malik Perkins, Hank Trimble. Christian Magnus had a touchdown. Andrew Kligbo, 1 carry, 42 yards. He's a force to be reckoned with. So we have lots of options and lots of different weapons on our offense.
And Jackson, Kokomo's defense, they're led by their quarterback, their actual quarterback. He plays safety too, Reese Beard, 5'8", 155, but he can fire off the ball. Last week, as a safety, he had 3 tackles for loss. How can Whiteland game plan around that?
I mean, I think just the offensive line, they need to keep eyes on him. I mean, he's going to creep up at times, and he's going to be impactful, but we'll just see if the offensive line can close the gaps, get to him before he gets to us.
Now, we can't talk the game without talking about special teams. Last week, special teams was kind of important for Kokomo. They gave up a 99-yard kickoff return touchdown to Leo. Now, what do you expect the special teams for Whiteland to game plan for that, knowing there are some weaknesses in Kokomo's kickoff team?
Look, like I said, same thing on offense. On special teams, we got weapons like Gunnar Hicks, Dane Coons, Malik Perkins. There's weapons. We're a very deep team, and so it's very hard as a team, any team, to predict who we're going to put in, and each player runs differently and sees the field differently, and so it'll just be very hard to predict and be able to contain Whiteland's special teams as well as their offense.
Well, this show isn't just about football. We also have all of the sports here that we're kind of celebrating here on Whiteland Gameday. For that, to intro us into talking about all the other sports, we have the Whiteland Beat Weekly Rundown, led this week by host Chloe Cooper.
Cooper, and this is the Whiteland Beat Weekly Rundown. Volleyball got the week started at the Kokomo Invitational on Saturday, winning 3 of 4 sets and taking 2nd place in the bracket. The ladies returned to the court on Tuesday with a huge 4-set win over Greenwood in their first conference action of the year. Boys soccer started their Saturday with a win over a solid Warren Central squad at the Indy Showcase. On Tuesday, the boys defeated New Pal 2-1 in the effort. Cooper and Grady scored the 2 goals, as goalie Jake Witherington racked up 17 saves. The boys are scheduled to play Seymour tomorrow morning. Girls soccer kicked off their weekend with a booming 9-0 win over Lawrence Central. LaPorte led the team in the effort with 3 goals, while Emberton kept a clean sheet. On Monday, the ladies kept their momentum with a 2-1 win over Pike. Boys tennis stayed hotter than the temperature this week as they swept Linton Stockton and number 10 Bloomington South. During their trip to B-Town, the Warriors only dropped 2 games as they earned their first victory over a ranked opponent on the season. Girls golf battled the heat this week as they played 18 holes on Wednesday morning in the Johnson County Championships. The girls placed 4th in the county with 2 golfers shooting under 100. Cross country will head to Mount Vernon tomorrow for their 3rd invite of the year. At last week's Plainfield Relays, the boys placed 6 out of 15 teams, while the girls were in the middle of the pack at 7th. Football will hit the gridiron tonight for their home opener against Kokomo. The Warriors defeated Jeffersonville last week 52-20 in a game where the team rushed over 400 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's all for this week. Be sure to tune in next time on the Whiteland Beat Weekly Rundown.
Well, I'll tell you, one thing I loved to see this week was the boys tennis going down to Bloomington South, knocking off the number 10 team in the state. Connor, tell me what you're looking forward to this season from boys tennis.
Look, we got guys like Jeremiah Hurt, Spencer Gillespie. A lot of these people actually aren't even not only tennis players, they're basketball players or other sports, working on their craft. But at the same time, I think Whiteland is, really making a name for itself, especially taking down the number 10 ranked team in the state, Bloomington South. It's really making a name for themselves, and I'm sure that they're continuing to strive for records like this and games like this.
And Jackson, when we saw boys soccer's first game, they lost 3-1 to Speedway. We thought, oh no, this is a repeat of last year, the kind of downtrodden season they had last year. But they turned it around. They tied Plainfield, which nobody saw coming. Then now they're in 2-1 on the year, sitting at 500. They got Seymour coming up tomorrow. What do you expect to see from boys soccer?
I mean, it's an explosive team and it's an exciting team. J.D. Lampo has 3 goals on the year already. Tuesday night, Austin Cooper and Noah Grady each had a goal. I mean, it's an exciting team. I think they're definitely going to have some fun this year.
Yeah, and Connor, let's talk a little bit about that cross-country team. They don't get a lot of love, only running on Saturdays, but, they've had 2 meets so far. We'll have Nolan Edens on here later to talk about how they've gone. What do you look forward to seeing from the cross-country team so far this year?
Look, they're a young team. They didn't lose a lot of seniors last year. And, they have younger guys like Nolan Edens and Will Watson, and on the girls' side, Bella Fuentes and Tori Jackson. So I think they're just excited and ready to dominate this cross-country.
And Jackson, that girls' volleyball team is on fire right now. We won't talk about the 3-0 loss to New Pal last night, but we will talk about that Greenwood game where they got their first conference win of the year in their first conference game of the year. And, I mean, just the 2-0 start alone to the season tells you a lot. They haven't had that in a long time. And first-year head coach Jennifer Munn, she has those girls fired up. Tell me about it.
I mean, yeah, it's her first year. You got veterans on that team. You got 4 seniors being Addie Stoll, Kennedy Morrison, Amber McClung, and Ashlyn Ricketts. I mean, I think they're going to lead this team. And then you got exciting young players like sophomores, Sophia Dyer and Carly Von Dilligan. Let's see what they can do this season, get some wins.
Well, when we return from this break, we will have cross-country star Nolan Edens, the sophomore, also son of athletic director David Edens. We'll interview him coming up after this. Well, welcome back to Whiteland Gameday. You see the football team has taken the field behind us, and Nolan Edens has joined us here, cross-country runner, sophomore here at Whiteland High School. Nolan, what are you looking forward to here tonight?
I'm just excited for Whiteland having their first home game. It should be hype, should be good game. I'm excited to see all the fans here and just the great atmosphere here.
Well, you're 2 meets into the season. What has really stuck out to you so far about this cross-country season? You're going into your 2nd year. What's been different from your freshman year?
Yeah, I feel a lot stronger than I did my freshman year. Feel a lot faster. The team looks a lot better. Plainfield Reels was a great confidence booster for us. We had a great meet there. So we're just hoping to carry it on tomorrow at Mount Vernon and just have a great race.
Now, what do you think makes cross-country different from every other fall sport?
Different than every other fall sport?
Different than every other fall sport.
I think it's a lot different because in cross-country, all you do is run for practice. Like, in football, you can do tons of stuff to get better. Tennis, for tennis, though, you do the same thing. But for different from football-wise, I would say cross-country, you just run, And in football, you can do so much other stuff to get better. So, yeah, that's what I think.
So you had your meet at Plainfield, the Plainfield Relays. You were partnered up with Will Watson. Now, you guys kind of competitive in practice with each other. What was it like to be partnered up with someone you compete against on a daily basis?
Yeah, I love being partners with Will because we're really, really, really good friends. So we kind of just have a competitive aspect of it too. But in the end, it's just all like good fun, and we're just trying to have fun and compete with each other.
So, Nolan, this is a question that might leave you torn. What do you think you like more, cross country or track?
I like the season of cross country more because I like the weather. I like the sport more. But track-wise, I like the events. I like how I can run the mile, the 2-mile. I like how I can run on the track. So it really just depends. But overall, I think I would say cross country. I think I like it better.
Now we're going to wrap it up with this. This might be a tough question for you, given that you are only a sophomore. But are there any younger runners that you're excited about coming up in the ranks of cross country?
Yeah. So we have a freshman named Gabe Reese. He's pretty solid for his first couple races, so I'm just hoping that, he can stick it through, try and just get up there with us and just help us out a lot and overall just run fast.
Well, we thank you, Nolan, for that interview. We wish you the best of luck tomorrow morning at Mount Vernon. We will cut to a break. When you return, join us back when we return on Whiteland Gameday. Well, we welcome you back to Whiteland Gameday. Coming up next for you, we'll have Slate Valentine and his relationship with brother Canyon Valentine. Slate, of course, last week ran for 162 yards. He's been phenomenal for this Whiteland offense. That project coming at you right now.
Whiteland Football has built a legacy of running the football since 2005. One of the most successful backs is a 2021 graduate, Chase Valentine, with a younger brother Slate looking to have more success than his older brother.
I don't feel like I have to step up just because his senior year is one of the best years ever in Whiteland history for football at running back. So I feel like that's a big challenge to step up into, but hopefully I do get that good and do get that high level of skill that he had.
If the team does great, then he will do great, you know what I mean? So I feel like, yes, at the same, I do think I think potentially he will be better than me, yes.
The brothers both have different goals for Slate and the team this year.
I really expect Slate to do very well. I think the whole team will actually do very well this year.
Some goals I have for this year is to reach 1,000 rushing yards, do 200 rushing yards in one game. Hopefully I hit that. And as a team, hopefully we're able to make it back to state.
Chase and Slate grew closer by being passionate about the sport that they love.
He plays literally the same position as me. So I can talk to him about everything that I wish I learned way earlier in my career, way earlier than my senior year.
Bond has created, since we were younger, we always played. We go outside, play catch. So I feel like that bond will always be there of having that and just more things to talk about. We have more things to talk about for football or even the NFL. We have more things to talk about because we both know the sport.
Valentine expresses his older brother's influence on and off the field.
And he teaches me. He doesn't only tell me what I'm doing good, but when I'm doing bad, so I can learn off the things, and he humbles me.
Actually, Slate, he always comes home and shows me his film, practice film, inside drill, and just practice film or game film and stuff. And I always even the wrong stuff, like even the plays that like just crash down and don't do good at all. I don't look just as good plays. Like I like looking at all of them, and I kind of like, I don't know, criticize his good and like, oh yeah, that was a good play, but then also like criticize his bad, because like we're not all perfect. And
even though they have different personalities, they have a lot of similarities on the field.
Similarities I see is that our patience on the field, and when we get the ball, we're able to read the hole instead of just going straight for it. And I feel like something we have in common is our size. We're not the biggest running backs compared to other running backs out there, but we make use of our size and get whatever we get done.
So the similarities that I see in our play styles is probably the vision and the way we see when we're out on the field, and then also the patience that we have. You know, patience is a big thing as like being a running back or a ball runner period, just because, I mean, you have to wait for your blocks and holes opening up. So I think he's really patient, and he learned that skill very quickly.
After 162 yards at last Friday's game against Jeffersonville, Slate Valentine is well on his way for a successful junior campaign. Only time will tell if he can reach the same heights as his brother before him.
Welcome back to Whiteland Gameday. It was really touching to see his relationship with his brother and how their bond over football really connects them. But Slate on the football field is even more impactful. He had 587 yards last year as a sophomore running back. A lot of that done in the postseason.
Yeah, Slate last week he had 18 carries, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a very, very consistent runner. Not saying he can't get explosive and find a hole and just fly through, but he's a very consistent runner. I'm sure Whiteland very appreciates him very much, and he's just very reliable.
And Jackson, for the Warriors to have a chance tonight, they need a massive game from Slate Valentine.
Yeah, I mean, like you said in the video, he's going for that 200-yard mark. I mean, that's his goal. I think tonight he's going to be really jumping down their throat, doing some damage.
Well, you see the football team just ran out behind us. The crowd is excited. The team is excited. We're excited for our next guest is going to be Amos Hubler after this break. Welcome back to Whiteland Gameday. We have student section leader Amos Hubler, who has joined us here in his toga, ready for senior night. Amos, you're also a member of the boys tennis team in addition to being on the student section. How's that tennis team been? They've been on fire so far, haven't they?
I mean, we've been doing pretty good, I'm not going to lie. I think we went down to Bloomington South this past Tuesday, Wednesday, I forget, and we absolutely destroyed them. I mean, it was great. I mean, they were a 10th ranked team. We won 1 singles through 8 JV doubles. Nobody even dropped. I don't even know how many games we dropped. It was just incredible.
2 games, I believe. 2 games you dropped total.
Yes,
but
yes.
Nonetheless, an amazing performance. Now, Amos, you're obviously the student section leader. I think the highlight of your week, it would be an understatement to say it's not. The highlight of your week, Operation Football, here this morning, we had about 200 kids show up. Tell me, what did that mean to you?
Oh, this morning it was just absolute. At the beginning of the week, me and Tyler and I got this email from Mr. Edens and Operation Football. We thought, how are we going to get people at the school that early? And we just all we had to do was send out one tweet, one Instagram post, and the Warrior Tribe showed out. I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah, it's been a great moment, great carrying of the momentum from the state game. Obviously, that state game was pivotal for kind of the life of our student section. We all showed out. I think there were some Valpo kids that were jealous of us at the state game. Of course, they walked away with the W, sadly. But our student section that probably would have taken a win alone that night. So we're going to get into some game picks here. The first game I have on our schedule, we're going county and conference games. I got Edinburgh at Cloverdale. They already started at 7 p.m. Both teams 0-1. Connor, you prepared for this. What's your pick?
Look, I got Edinburgh 35-6. Cloverdale just got absolutely blown out 69-0 last night, and I got Edinburgh on this one.
Amos, what do you think?
Well, if I'm being completely frank, I've never heard of Cloverdale, so I'm gonna have to pick Edinburgh on this one. I'll go 30-0.
Jackson.
I got Edinburgh coming out on top on this one, 14-0. I think the defenses both are just going to play a really good game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a clean sweep for Edinburgh here. Cloverdale, we'll see how they bounce back to that 69-0 blowout to South Putnam, but for right now, I got Edinburgh 27-8. So our next game on the schedule, we've got Franklin at Mount Vernon. They've already kicked off down US 31. Well, not down US 31, up at Mount Vernon, pardon me. They've already kicked off so far tonight. What are you guys looking at on that game?
Look, Franklin came off a big win, 42-3 last week against New Albany. I got Mount Vernon, on the other hand, 42-24.
I think that Franklin is just going to get absolutely destroyed tonight. I mean, it should happen. It's going to happen. I hope it does happen. And so I'm going to go 24-14, Mount Vernon.
Jackson.
Yeah, well, kind of common trend. I got Mount Vernon going 38-14, beating Franklin. I don't think that Franklin defense is going to be enough to stop Franklin offense or Mount Vernon's offense.
You know, all the experts say Mount Vernon with the blowout. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a lot closer. Don't forget, Franklin beat New Albany 42-3 last week. I think it's going to be Mount Vernon, but it's going to be close. It's 28-24. Next game, we got Greenwood at Indian Creek. Greenwood coming off a massive performance, had 434 yards in the air. Travel down to the creek, can be intimidating. What do you guys think?
Look, if you got the number one passing yards leader in the state as of last week and the number one receiving yards leader as of last week with 434 and 236 yards, you're that for a reason. So I got Greenwood 35-31.
I got two coworkers to go to Indian Creek. Shout out Sam and Will. But I think they will lose tonight. I would say Greenwood on top. I'd say it's a close one because they don't have no defense. I'd say probably 14-7.
Yeah, I mean, going off kind of a common trend, I think Greenwood, anybody with a quarterback throwing over 400 yards is bound to have another good game. I mean, I think Greenwood's going to go out and win this one 42-24.
Yeah, I got Greenwood 42-31. I do have Indian Creek scoring another touchdown, one touchdown more than you, Jackson. Next game, GCA at Covenant Christian. GCA kind of got dismantled last week against Park Tudor, to put it lightly. What do you guys see from that?
Look, Park Tudor is a very talented team, and to be able to score 6 against them last week, Covenant Christian, I got to take 17-14 Covenant Christian.
I don't know if GCA has it tonight. I mean, Park Tudor, they're real good. Or I guess Covenant Christian. Park Tudor won last week, I guess. I'll take Covenant Christian 14-0.
All right, Jackson.
I think that Covenant team has just got a lot more experience than GCA. They've only been here for 2 years. I got Covenant going 35-17.
You know, a lot of you guys are throwing shade at GCA. They scored 6 points against Park Tudor. I think they double that this week. That being said, I got Covenant Christian 42-12. Moving on, we got Harrison West Lafayette at Plainfield. This is a 7:30 start time.
Look, you go on Instagram, you go on any social media, all you're going to see is Plainfield this, Plainfield that, and they're that for a reason. Their wide receiver core is very good. They're a talented QB. And so, Harrison West Lafayette is a very talented team as well. Both are 1-0. But I got 28-24 Plainfield.
I think Plainfield's going to get it done tonight. I mean, Harrison, they're pretty good, always pretty good. But Plainfield, I heard they're pretty young this year. But I'll go Plainfield 28-21.
I think enough's been said. I got Plainfield going 21-14.
Yeah, I got Plainfield too, 21-17. A lot of people sleeping on Plainfield. A lot of people like Harrison in this game. I think Plainfield has a good chance to win that sectional and meet us here in the regional. Now, that being said, we'll move on. Martinsville at Bloomington South. This is an 8 p.m. start time, same time as us. What do you guys got?
Look, Bloomington South's a very talented team, and also Martinsville is neighbors with Bloomington South. So even though this is at Bloomington South High School, it could feel just like a home game for Martinsville with the amount of people that show up. I got, however, Bloomington South coming up 42-28.
I mean, I was at Bloomington South the other day looking at the football stands. They had a lot of state championships in like the 70s, none within the past 20 years. Give me Martinsville. I'd say 21-17.
Jackson.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I think Bloomington South is going to come out on top of this one, 31-28.
I got Bloomington South 38-31. Now, we move on. Mooresville at Danville. Mooresville took a loss to Bloomington North last week. Danville squeaked out a win against Greencastle. This is going to be a tight game playing at 8 o'clock.
Look, I think Mooresville has a decent offense and a decent defense, but with their loss of the senior quarterback last year, it's going to be very hard. I see Mooresville coming off on losing this one, 17-6 Danville.
I think Mooresville, I mean, they're a pretty good team. I think they can get it done in a close one tonight. I'm going to go 10-7.
I mean, like Connor was saying, that Mooresville offense is going to be just a different dynamic this year without that quarterback. But, I mean, I got Danville coming out on top, 13-7.
All right, now we move on. We got New Pal at Decatur Central. This is going to be a highly contested one. New Pal took the loss to Westfield last week. Decatur took a win at a very talented Columbus North team. What do you guys think?
Look, Decatur has a young QB. They're a fast offense, strong defense usually, all the time. But anyone that plays New Palestine, win, lose, or tie, they're going to say that New Pal is a very, very strong and gives a lot of effort team. And so I have New Pal coming out on this 35-31.
I think this will be a pretty high-scoring game. New Pal's good, Decatur's good. So I'm going to go with New Pal in this one. I'm going to go 38-21, New Pal.
I mean, everybody's picking New Pal. I think Decatur Central's going to shut it down. I think it's going to be 17-10 at the end.
Yeah, I got Decatur Central too, 35-20. Let's move on. Perry Meridian at Southport. This already started at 7. What do you guys think?
Look, I think Perry Meridian and Southport are both very mediocre teams at best. I do have Perry, however, winning 38-31.
I think Southport, they weren't too good last year, but they are playing the 6A opponents, so I think they could get it done tonight. I'm gonna go 20-17.
Jackson.
I think both teams have definitely improved, but I mean, I'm gonna have to go Southport 21-17.
And finally, it's your game of the week. Kokomo Whiteland. Whiteland number 2 in 5A. Kokomo number 4 in 4A. Both top 5. Both teams that love to run the ball, have stout defenses. What are you guys' picks for this one?
Look, Kokomo, the Wildcats are a very big team, and even though they only use a wing tee, they're very dynamic, and they're very unpredictable. However, I don't think Whiteland is perfect or anything, and so I got Whiteland 31-28.
I think the Warriors, they're just gonna absolutely destroy them tonight. I mean, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. Slate Valentine, he's going for that 200 yards rushing tonight, like he said in the video earlier today, and I think he's gonna get done. The Warriors are gonna win 30-10.
I don't think Kokomo is prepared for Malik Perkins and Slate Valentine. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I have Whiteland coming out on top, 42-21.
Yeah, I got Whiteland too. I think this might be the closest game here at James Sleighter Field since they played Mooresville in 2020. That was the year they won sectional. Now, I think I got Whiteland 22-17 here. Now, we thank you for joining us here on Whiteland Game Day. We hope to see you next week as Whiteland plays host to Decatur Central. For Connor Bishop, for Jackson Brown, Nolan Edens, and of course Amos Hubler, the student section leader, I'm Jayden Collins, and we thank you for tuning in.